Imagine a Greek boy, 8 years old, growing up in a peaceful mountain village. He knows nothing of empires or armies, only the sound of goats in the fields and the stories his mother tells beside the fire. But one night, war reaches his home. The village is defeated, the house is burned, and the boy disappears. Not killed, but taken. 12 years later, an Ottoman army marches toward that same village. At the front walks a young soldier wearing the white turban of the Sultan. He carries himself with discipline, speaks a new language, follows a new faith, and some villagers swear they recognize his eyes. This is not a story. This is how the Janissaries were born. Janissaries, the most feared soldiers of the Ottoman Empire, were often not Turkish at all. Many came from conquered Christian communities: Greek, Serbian, Bulgarian, Albanian, Bosnian. They were taken through a system called Devshirme, the collection of boys. Ottoman officials traveled from village to village, choosing children who stood out, the healthiest, the brightest, the strongest. Some families hid their sons in the forest. Others, especially the poor, secretly hoped the officials would pick their child, believing the empire could offer a better future than they ever could. Once selected, the boys were taken far from home. Their names were changed, their native languages forbidden, their past identities slowly erased. The empire rebuilt them from the ground up. Inside the Janissary system, these boys entered a world unlike anything in Europe. They received an education that would surprise many: languages, mathematics, administration, strategy. Not only military training, their days were filled with strict routines, silent discipline, and endless drills. They lived almost like monks. No marriage, no private property, no independent life. Everything belonged to the core. Everything served the Sultan. But with this discipline came status. They were not ordinary soldiers. They were the Sultan's personal infantry, a force trusted above all others. Separated from their families and stripped of their past, the boys found new brothers in the barracks. They shared food, rooms, punishments, victories. They ate from the same iron cauldron, a symbol of unity and loyalty. This bond made them fearless on the battlefield. Janissaries fought in perfect formation, moving like a single body. They embraced early firearms long before many European armies did, combining gunpowder with discipline in a way the world had never seen. It was this unity, this unbreakable brotherhood, that made them unstoppable. Years passed. The boys grew into warriors, and when the Ottoman Empire expanded deeper into the Balkans, many Janissaries marched straight into the lands they had been taken from. A boy taken from a Serbian village might return as a soldier sent to crush a Serbian uprising. A Greek boy could return as part of an army invading Greek lands. Chroniclers describe moments when mothers fainted at the sight of a Janissary whose face looked painfully familiar, a son who no longer remembered her. This was the tragedy behind their power. Though taken as children, many Janissaries climbed higher than any ordinary villager could ever dream. Some became governors, some became generals. Some even reached the position of Grand Vizier, the highest office after the Sultan himself. They grew wealthy, opened shops, controlled guilds, and shaped city life in Istanbul. Their military music, the powerful Mehter band, echoed through Europe and inspired composers like Mozart and Beethoven. From mountain villages to the heart of imperial power, their rise was unimaginable. But power is a dangerous thing. As the centuries passed, the Janissaries became more than soldiers. They became a political force that even the Sultan feared. They resisted new weapons, new tactics, and any attempt to modernize the military. They rebelled multiple times, overthrew sultans, and protected their privileges above all else. What once made them strong now made them a threat to the empire they served. By the early 19th century, the Ottoman Empire could no longer tolerate their influence. In 1826, the Sultan ordered a decisive strike. The Janissary barracks were surrounded and bombarded with artillery. Thousands were killed in a single night. The event became known as the Auspicious Incident, a cold name for a brutal end. After nearly 6 centuries, the Janissaries disappeared from history. Their story is complex. Children taken, identities erased, soldiers forged, brotherhood created, power gained, fear-inspired, and finally, destruction. The Janissaries remain one of the most fascinating military institutions ever created. Their legacy is a mix of admiration, sorrow, brilliance, and tragedy, a reminder of how deeply war can reshape a human life. Thanks for watching. Support the channel with a like and a subscribe. See you in the next video.